My name is Blake Ross, and thank you for taking the time to listen to me tonight. I know that technically you don't have a choice, but regardless, I appreciate each and every one of you. A lot of you probably do not know me. To those who do, most likely aren't familiar with a part of myself that I want to share with you today. To get the full picture, however, you need to go back in time to May of 2022. I had just graduated from my middle school at the top of my class and received a school award called the 1958 Award, which is awarded to a student who sets an outstanding example to his or her classmates. I never received any award like that in my life, so it made me feel like I was on top of the world. Going into my freshman year of high school, I felt like I could accomplish anything and was confident I would have a phenomenal next 4 years. Unfortunately, this isn't how the story goes. And it didn't take long enough for me to feel like I'd fallen down to the bottom of the barrel. Being in a new environment terrified me. Making new friends terrified me. I wouldn't eat lunch because I didn't want to eat alone. People who I'd known almost my entire life began to become more and more distant. And I started to get bullied by those around me because I wasn't able to fit in. As a result, the confidence and self-esteem I once had vanished, and I eventually was diagnosed with depression and social anxiety, which is a pretty wicked combo. I'd always been known as a more quiet and reserved kid, but at this point, I felt like I was completely isolated from everyone around me. My parents were able to tell that something was obviously wrong, so they offered to have me look at a list of boarding schools to possibly transfer to for my sophomore year. You could probably guess one of the schools that was on that list. While my tour of Millbrook was during the winter, and I was very cold, my revisit day was a lot warmer, and the campus glows beautiful. After a student I was shadowing took me to his photography class to do a full photo shoot, I knew that Millbrook was the place I wanted to end up at. However, the story doesn't end there. Because even though Millbrook was a much better environment for me than my previous school, I was still struggling with my mental health. See, I thought that just changing schools is going to fix what's wrong with me, but in reality, it simply didn't work like that. Eventually, I realized that the problem wasn't the school, it was me. And accepting that was not easy at first. I knew that the only way I'd be able to change is if I would take the initiative and to actively work at it myself. The only issue was I had no idea how I would work at it. However, I remembered how much I enjoyed doing theater the year before. So I thought that if I worked hard and put my all into something that I was passionate about, all the other stuff wouldn't matter. So I signed up for the play in the fall, which was a Midsummer Night's Dream. And to say the least, it was a blast. I still dealt with depression, which resulted in some bad days. I still dealt with social anxiety, which kept me from connecting more with others. The only difference is, after I decided to put all my effort and energy into theater, I felt alive, and I loved what I did. While I didn't exactly fix what's wrong, I found a reason to keep pushing forward. And I see that as a success in my book. Looking back when I was a senior, I always knew since my start in Millbrook that I would want to get a chapter talk, because to be very honest with both you and myself, I don't know if I've made my mark on the Millbrook community, at least not to the extent that I want. However, I always ask myself one question: why should I? I knew that my story is one of a million, so what would I have to offer? My answer to why is quite simple. Millbrook helped me discover who I really am. I'm someone who is dedicated to what I do and passionate about reaching my goals. I'm someone who cares deeply about my family, my friends, and those who just go out of the way to reach out their hands, who I still care for and appreciate even if I don't always show it. I'm someone who is willing to push myself through the thorns, even if it's only to prove to myself that I'm still going forward. So yes, my story is one of the moments. And I want to talk to you all tonight because I know many of you might be facing similar struggles, oftentimes on your own. I want you to know sincerely, from someone who's been through the highest highs and the lowest lows, you matter. Your story matters. And everything that you've gone through, both good and bad, matters. When you see someone reach out their hand to you, grasp it and hold it firm. Even if this message only reaches one person, it'll make all of what I've gone through worth it at the end. because I know there's someone out there who I was able to help and inspire. And I can leave Millbrook soon knowing that I was able to leave a positive impact on my community and prove that boy who won the 1958 Cup I'm worthy of being an example to others. Thank you.